It's your girl Sherece L coming at you, all liberties reserved. I want to do a video really quick because I know that I promised you guys a live class discussion, and life is kind of getting in the way. Unexpected things is happening right now, and now that I have a little bit of time, I definitely want to get into understanding. I want to get you guys to an understanding as to why astrologics is so important and why it's been hidden from us for so long, and why you guys need to know what is going on within your natal chart. Okay. Well, first off, why is astrologics so important? Because it is literally the manual to your life. Astrologics will tell you how you operate in different situations, what outcome typically would happen with your energy, depending on what day you manifested onto the earth plane. Astrologics allows you to see your pattern and your habits so that, say if it's a negative pattern, there's a way for you to correct it. You know what I mean? You can't fix what you don't know is broken. When it comes to your natal chart, what it does is lay out everything about you. Okay? Now there are different versions of astrology, right? There are different interpretations. Most people understand the Western astrology. Those who get more into it, they deal with the Vedic astrology. Really, it's all the same. The only difference is that with Vedic astrology, the Hindus, they still had some of the peace and love, while saying peace and love. The thing with the Vedic astrology, the Hindus, they kept a lot of the original sacred texts, such as the Tibetan monks and things like that. They have scrolls where they spoke of Yeshua, like the time Yeshua visited them, because Yeshua was an actual person. Okay, we're not talking about Jesus. We should know by now that Jesus Christ is I want to say, a character that is based upon the life of a man named Yeshua. All right. And Yeshua was an Essene. A lot of people don't even know this, but Yeshua was an Essene, and there are scrolls, there are gospels that you can look into where it shows you, it lays out to you how you're supposed to serve the days, how you're supposed to serve Mother. The same way that there's a Our Father, the Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. There is a Our Mother if you look up the Essene Gospels, okay? And Yeshua taught all of this. Now, I'm saying all this to say because astrologics, when you get into that and you see why, it's been hidden from us for so long, it really teaches you about yourself, and it allows you not to be enslaved by outsiders, because truly religion is something that allows you to look inward and correct those things that can allow you to manifest and transcend different dimensions. All right. A lot of people think of astrologics as, just simply where you just a place or a way for you to look into the future or stuff like that, gain technology. And I won't even deny that is possible. However, what one must really understand is that when you're dealing with, I like to say, the external, because there's always two. You have the you're gonna have the esoteric and the exoteric. Okay, you're going to have the general information that everybody is privy to, and then you're going to have the hidden occult information that people will fight and murder and kill in order to gain access to. All right, we're at a time right now within our cycle with the sun that information is free for all. Okay, this is why we call it the Aquarian age. We're in the age of technology. Everything is done instantaneously. You know what I mean? It's like you don't even have to wait for anything at this point. Not only are we in the age of Aquarius, we're also in the age of Leo. Okay, because everything is about duality, everything is about polarity. Okay, this is one of the Hermetic principles, and those Hermetic principles are universal principles. If it doesn't apply to the universal principles, then it doesn't apply at all. That is something that most people claim that they understand and they know, but they don't put it into practice. So a lot of the times, things that they probably thought that they could solve or they would solve, because they missed that step, because they missed that one factor of making sure that the hermetic principles are in play. They missed a lot. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna just turn this around real quick. I'm gonna show you something on my board. Give me a second. All right, y'all. So right here we have Zodhiacs, right? All right. Now most people want to talk about how they're discussing the 13 signs now. When it comes to the 13 signs, you are really all of the signs. Okay? You are all of the signs. You have 12 houses here. Each house represents an aspect of your life, like an aspect of your literal life. You have an aspect of self, an aspect of possession, an aspect of communication, an aspect of home, an aspect of creation, an aspect of service and health, an aspect of partnerships, an aspect of legacy, an aspect of higher aspiration, an aspect of social status, an aspect of friendship and well wishes. Okay, and then you also have an aspect of self-revelation. Okay, these are all things that that humans, Moors, the natural beings on the planet. These are trials or situations of our life that we go through on a day to day. So when you start to learn about your chart, one thing that I do understand that confuses people is how the chart moves, right? Typically we start off with Aries, understanding that Aries kicks off the spring, right? We're going to put the east over here, the west, the north, and the south. Okay. So I understand that one of the things that confuses people is how does the chart move? Like, what is it about the chart? Give me a sec. I'm just grabbing another marker here. But yeah. So what is it about the chart? That I need to understand in order to really calculate it myself, right? That's typically one of the questions that I get. An easy way for you to be able to do it is to understand how a compass operates. Okay? Whenever you're dealing with a compass, right? You know that it's always going to point north. All right? So it's certain keys with the compass as a tool. You know that that's the standard. Okay? The same thing applies with Zodhiacs. Once you understand the standard, then you're able to maneuver and utilize this as you need to. Okay? Understand that this is a navigational tool. Okay? It's not something that's supposed to dictate your life per se. What it does do is lay out what is already in front of you. If you decide to change your course en route, you see what I'm saying? If you decide to you as the captain of your vessel, right? Decide to change course, you're free to do that. But understand, every action has a reaction. You reap what you sow. So regardless if you do something or if you don't do something, there will be an action that's going to come about that from that response or in action, right? So now, I did a video going over the solar and lunar calendars, and the reason why I did that is because when you follow the solar and the lunar calendars, what you're really following is your father and your mother in astrological terms. When you're dealing with your ascendant, your Trinity, right? You got your ascendant, you got your sun, and you got your moon. There are various ways that people teach astrologics. My way, the way that I show people, my method that I show people that has been flawless, and I get them to really thoroughly understand it, to where they don't even need me anymore, because that is the objective. The objective is for them to get it for themselves. All right? Because I am a thorough believer that nobody should know your chart better than you. Okay? Nobody. When people give out their information to certain people, it becomes dangerous or hazardous sometimes, because when you have people who can actually read everything about you, and you like you're looking at the same layout, and you're not able to interpret it yourself, the individual who knows how to read it may use something within the chart against you. So you want to be careful of who you give your information to. If you don't thoroughly trust that individual, or if you really don't want to give out too much of your information, then simply stick with your Trinity. Okay? Simply stick with your Trinity. Don't give them your exact time. Because when you give someone your exact time, then they're able to go down to the finest detail of yourself. Okay? Unless you thoroughly trust the person not to abuse the information, I suggest that you don't. Okay? Now, with that said, understanding that when it comes to the motion of your chart, when you were born, you have energy that was hitting the planet. Okay? The sun, the placement of the sun dictates how your overall personality will be. The body, or the physical presentation of what you represent to people. This is what they typically call your zodiac sign. Okay? Or your sun sign. That's what they call it, typically. So, for instance, if you were born in March, then you were either, then you're most likely an Aries. Your sun was in Aries when you were born. Okay? If you were born in the end of October, like we are right now, then your sun was in Libra. Okay? That's how they show your sun sign. Now remember, same way you have a sun sign, you got a sign for all the other planets within our solar system that are affecting you on a day-to-day. It's not the sun alone that gives off energy and allows you to be you by giving you, by animating you within different situations. All right. So, for instance, you have Mars, you have Venus, you have Mercury. Okay, you have Jupiter, you have Saturn. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have the moon, and you have the sun. These are your 7 inner planets. These 7 inner planets correspond with your chakras. Okay? And for me to go into detail, that's going to be another video. I am definitely going to do that. But I want to also get into the Kabbalah, because I am going to be plugging in all of this for you guys. I will be showing you what it is we should have been learned about ourselves, about how to love ourselves, so that others will love us the way that we deserve to be loved. The work that needs to be done as far as uplifting fallen humanity starts with the self. And if you do not understand yourself, then you cannot work on yourself. You understand? All right. So like I said, the same way you have a sun sign, right? You got a moon sign, you got a Saturn sign, a Jupiter, a Mercury, a Venus, a Mars, and you also have what is known as generational planets. Now we're talking about Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Okay? These are your generational planets. These don't come around until, a few years after. Like this one, like Uranus comes around every 7 years. Neptune, I believe, is 13, and then Pluto is every 20 years. So you don't necessarily you don't feel their impact as much as you would do the inner planets that will affect you on a day-to-day because they're closer to you. Okay? So now when it comes to dealing with your ascendant, okay? Your ascendant will tell you more about you than your sun sign. Most don't know that. When you tell people, oh, I'm a Leo, I'm a Scorpio, I'm this, I'm that, and that, you're telling them, yeah, you're telling them about yourself, but you're not really telling them how you act or how you think or how you react to a situation daily. With your sun sign, remember, your sun sign represents your body. So it pretty much represents the presentation, okay? The presentation that you give to people. So like, for instance, if you are I'm gonna pick one. Say your sun sign is Leo, right? Say your sun sign is Leo. Even when you're depressed, you're gonna give off some form of confidence. You're never gonna let nobody see that you're depressed or you're sad about something. If that's your sun sign, the presentation that you would give is that you're all good. Everything about you, you got it going on. I'm a lion. I got this. You know what I mean? Your confidence won't allow you to show what you're really feeling. Your body, the body that you're in, and remember, your body is the vessel that houses the spirit. It houses your soul. Okay? Right? The presentation, your sun sign is the presentation that you give off to people. So another one, Virgo, right? With Virgo, they may not even want to help you, but just off of their sun sign, they'll do it. Like, they may not like you, something may have happened, they may have had an argument, but because of the nature of Virgo being your sun sign, you're going to help them even if you don't want to help them. That's just what's going to happen. You see what I'm saying? Now, your moon, right? I'm focusing on your Trinity because I'm not trying to make, I get nervous with with this Facebook Live. Like, you guys know my history when I really go in on stuff, and that's why I'm taking my time with the Facebook Live. But when it comes to your sun sign, your moon sign, your moon is your emotion. It's your intuition. Okay? That's how you feel on the inside. Like, that's how you really, really feel. You may not want people to always know how you feel deep down inside. When no one is looking, where you don't have to necessarily explain anything to anyone. You just have a feeling, and you probably can't even explain why you feel that way. But initially, that's what your moon represents. Your emotions, how you feel about a situation. Not necessarily how you would react. That's two separate things. A lot of times people would, plug them together. Like, no, just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean that you're going to operate off of feeling. A lot of times that's how people get in trouble, because they don't know how to separate their feelings from their actions. They operate off of emotion all the time, and that's really what got our people caught up today. They can't separate their emotions from the political ramifications of things. So they get caught up in a lot, in other instances. But, just moving forward, understanding your moon is your moon represents your emotion. Your sun represents your vessel or your body, or how you or the presentation that you give off to people. And that also speaks of your physical representation as well. For instance, myself, I'm a Gemini. I have long arms, long legs, I'm tall. You know what I mean? That's just a quality of my sun sign being in Gemini. Okay? So your moon is your emotion, your intuition, how you feel about a situation. Your sun is your physical body, the presentation that you give to others. And now you have your ascendant. Okay? Why is the ascendant more important than the sun? Because your ascendant it starts off in the house of self. When you're dealing with the ascendant, you're dealing with the first house. Okay? So the energy that you have in the first house, that's really that's the mode of yourself overall. Okay? So what I mean by your mode, regardless if you're working, regardless if you're eating, regardless if you are talking with your grandmother, regardless if you're regardless of what you're doing, the energy in your house of self, that is the overall energy that you would give off to people. Okay? So, for an example, if your ascendant is Aquarius, right? Say the dial, say when you were born, right? When you were born, being manifested onto the earth plane, the sun was on the horizon in the east, giving off the energy of Aquarius. Okay? Because that's what this is right here. This line that I'm drawing here, that's the horizon line on your natal chart. Okay? That is known as the horizon line or the equatorial line. All right? Why do I say that? Because again, this is the east, this is the west. The east represents the spring equinox. The equinox being equal days and nights. Okay? Right? And then you have the solstice here. The solstice line right here. Okay? This would represent the winter solstice, summer solstice. Okay? Summer has the longest days. Longest days, shortest nights. Okay? Winter has the longest nights, shortest days. All right? Right now, if you want to follow the sun is in Libra, right? So we're getting to that point where we're starting to see the sun move from having the longest days, right, to go into the longest nights. That's where it's going. That's where we're headed with the sun right now. Okay? Like a month and a half ago, right now it's about to be what, 7 o'clock? A month and a half ago, the sun was still, you would have still seen light outside a month and a half ago, right? Dealing with Leo, right? Where the sun is at its highest point within Leo, right? Now it's traveling, it's moving. It's past the descent line at this point, meaning the fall or autumnal point, and now we're moving down, getting into our winter days. Okay, but again, let me just bring it back to where we're speaking about the ascendant. If your Aquarius is ascendant, then you would give off daily, regardless of what it is, you would give off what they would say, a know-it-all attitude. Meaning you don't need anybody to really tell you anything. You already know it. You pick things up easy. Like an Aquarius ascendant is the type who gets information and shares that information. Aquarius represents the network. It represents the web, like the actual, like for instance, like with the World Wide Web. Understanding Aquarius is ruled by is ruled by Uranus as well as Saturn. Saturn is the Uranus is the higher octave of Saturn. Okay? This is why when you hear Taj, they say that Taj speaks of how Saturn and Uranus is in the house of Aquarius. Like we're in the age of Aquarius right now, where Saturn and Uranus is in the same house. So now everything, understanding that Saturn is a planet of discipline. Okay? Saturn is a planet of discipline. Saturn is looking to punish those who don't deserve to be in the spot that they're in. And dealing with Uranus is about altruism. It's about unique ideas. It's about diversity. It's about it gives you a new direction to look into. Okay? So when these two planets are together, when you have Saturn and Uranus going together, essentially what you have is, okay, you have a genius new creative force that wants to emerge, but it's not going to happen in falsehood. There needs to be a realistic basis before that new creative force can emerge. Okay? I hope you guys are following me with that. Before Uranus can really kick off and do what it wants to do with a new form of energy, new life, a new creation, new ideas. Okay? Because remember, Aquarius deals with knowledge, the water bearer, the ones that wants to bestow and give you enlightenment. And also understand we're dealing with the polarity of Aquarius and Leo. Leo is the I will. That is the divine will. That is the creative force. Okay? So now you have Saturn. As I said, you have Saturn and you have Uranus here in this house. Saturn and Uranus in the house of Aquarius. Saturn is holding back and restricting things that wants to move forward if it's not in a positive way. If it's not genuine, if it's a fraud, if it's not real, it will be shut down. Because you have Uranus, the planet of altruism, the planet that wants to spark off new things, really utilize the energy of Leo the way it should be. It wants to, but it won't, because Saturn is restricting certain things from going through. Saturn got the 7 rings around it. Okay? You got to pass through those 7 rings or those 7 layers, or essentially when you really get into it, you start to see how Saturn, those 7 rings really represent different layers or levels that can correspond with your chakras. It also corresponds with the layers in the atmosphere of the earth. Because the dimensions, a lot of people want to go like outer space, like really in in actuality, the dimensions is right here within the dome of the earth. You see what I'm saying? So unless you yourself as an individual find those things that needs to be regulated, find those things that needs to be put in check, the energy, that new energy that would come with Uranus won't manifest or show itself to you. It's not, Saturn won't give it to you. Saturn is not the planet of gifts. That's Jupiter. Saturn is Big Mama. I tell everybody this, when you're looking at your planets, relate it to your family, because that's what it is. The simplest way that our ancestors knew that we would understand the science is when we relate it to ourselves. Okay? This is why you feel so close to a deity. When I got into the Orishas, right? Dealing with the Yaruba, one of the things that I started to understand is like every deity that they were saying, I could relate to an aunt or I could relate to an uncle, you know, like in my family, like my physical family. And I'm like, all they're representing and showing you characters, different energies that can emerge within different situations. That's what the planets are doing. The planets are showing you different energies that will emerge in different situations, but you have to be able to read what the planet is so that you can then take the warning, or take heed to what it is that is trying to tell you in whichever aspect or whichever house it's laid in. Okay? So now, again, with polarity, man's business is about reflection. So regardless of whatever house you're in, whatever house you decide to choose, understand you got to look at the opposite end. You have to. There's really only six aspects. Okay? Those 6 are divided into 12 because we're living in a world of duality. So when you're looking at the left, you're also looking at the right. Okay? That is what is being represented when you're looking at Zodakayas. It's really only 6. Okay? Even when you're looking at yourself down to your body, you see that your torso holds everything in place, but your body is split in half. Your left foot looks like your right. Your left hand looks like your left. You see what I'm saying? 2 eyes, 2 nostrils. It just comes down to your rib cage. It's split in half. Okay? You live in a world of duality. And there's a central core that holds that duality in place. Okay? We come from, or we have been emitted from that central core. And we call that Allah. That undefinable, undeniable, ever-present, yet impersonal energy. Source energy. All right? A minute. All right, fam. So that was just a quick synopsis. I'm going to go and run some errands really quickly, but I do want to continue this. I'm going to probably be doing a live class either later tonight, if you guys decide to stay up with me. I know there's a couple people that wanted that inbox me. I'm definitely going to get back with y'all tonight. But anybody who wants me to go over their own natal chart, who wants me to really get into this on a one-on-one situation, it's not a problem. I don't mind at all. Just inbox me and let me know. I'm going to be doing a class later this week that goes into further understanding how you can look into past lives and stuff like that, because it's really it's really cool. But I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna give you guys some tips and tricks so that you can really start to analyze it for yourself, because again, nobody should be able to read your natal chart better than you. Nobody should know more about you than you, but you got to start by learning. You have to start by opening yourself to seeing something different. And remember, this system of astrologics is what all religious systems is talking about. When you talk about Yahweh, when you're talking about Jehovah, when you're talking about Allah, when you're talking about Buddha, Krishna, when you're talking about all these speaking about, you know, that Christ energy, essentially all you're speaking about is that presence that animates you to be your better self. Okay? We're going to go into all of that. All right? So I'm going to sign off here. Y'all inbox me. Let me know what's up. All right? Peace and love, y'all.